What is happening? Welcome to my channel. My name is Matt Bradford. Today we're going to talk about this cool little hammer-on bouncy thing. You know. But before we do that, we got to do a little talking. I understand it's not your favorite thing. At the first exercise that I'm going to talk about is here. Okay, but the talking stuff is important. So, look, we're going to have some diagrams and also have a backing track, and those are available on my Patreon. The link is below. It is, at the time of filming of this, it's $5 a month. So whether or not you want the diagrams, whether or not you want the backing tracks or not, if you want to support the channel, it's $5 a month. Regardless, I know the selling stuff sucks, but this is the way I'm going to hopefully be able to keep doing this. All right, gear being used today. We're in open D tuning. I don't know if I always say that, but it's open D tuning. And so if you don't know what that is, D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. Now, if you don't know what that is, this might not be the lesson to start with. If you go back to my channel, the beginning of my channel, there's a whole playlist called Lessons. It starts with the intro lap steel lesson, and you know I've laid it out pretty like there's like a path to get to this. So one more thing. Oh, so many things. Gear being used. I'm using an Apocalypse Machine lap steel. I build these for myself. There are plenty of amazing lap steels out there. I do have a whole video on how to shop for lap steels. Using Righteous Sound pickups. This is a diadem in the bridge and noiseless single coil in the neck. I'm going through my DCC Darkos Custom Creations Plexi, and I'm using a Caslitter Toxic Twins Overdrive. Going into the 2 notes, Torpedo Captor X into Logic. In Logic, we've got a little bit of reverb from Universal Audio or Valhalla, one of the two. Those are the ones I use. And a little bit of delay from Soundtoys Echo Boy. Okay? So that's the signal chain. Guitar, overdrive, amp, load box, Logic, a little bit of post-production on Logic. The backing track today is just a D. It's all in D. So there's a riff. But it's just D. And the reason for that is that this technique that we're going to talk about, we're going to start on just the D chord. So this is the first video about this technique. Now I'm going to do another one later this week about how to move between chords. So this will be number 1. There will be a number 2 about different chords, chord tones, etc. Now we're here. We're here to the scale. This is the minor pentatonic scale in D. This is on the top 2 strings. Now, again, here's the diagram. Let's put it over here. Here's the diagram. I don't play scales. If you haven't, this is not the lesson to start with, but if you haven't, I don't play scales. I don't do that. It's not, we actually might do that in this video. So I might be lying to you. But for the most part, like the way this is laid out is just these are the notes. And what we're going to do is we're going to bounce off the notes, right? So this is a really fun technique because it almost feels like cheating. It's almost like a lap steel cheat code where you can kind of do some stuff. Like this is when I played with Tool. I've just been waiting for an opportunity to put that clip in there. You know what I mean? People, I don't know. That was a really cool moment. But so. That all being said, it's like a cheat code, and I used it on that stage, and I use it when if I'm lost, or even if it's just a great way to add energy, speed, dynamics. It changes you up. And what I'm doing is this. Let's start with so we have this scale. Let's do just the high string, just your high E string. Okay, high D string, I guess. And what we're gonna do is this. So what am I doing? This is this is it's relatively simple. The scale notes. That's a 1. That's your 3. It's a flat 3 in this case, but for the sake of this, it's 1, 3, 5, 7. I had to cut that because I said it wrong because I don't. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. 1, 3. It's a flat 3, but in this case, it is a 3. We're just calling it 3. It's a D minor pentatonic scale. In D minor, the 3 is a flat 3. So 1, flat 3, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. Okay? What are the notes in a D chord? Well, they're 1, 3, and 5. And in this case, because we have this riff, which is it's kind of like going down to the C and then coming back up. But really what that's doing is it's making it a minor 7 chord. And it's also adding the 4. So, because of that riff, all of these notes work just against the D. And honestly, if it was just... Right, it works against just that D note anyway, or that D chord anyway. In this case, with that riff, we're using all the notes in the scale. So, what I want to do is this. I want to start by ascending and trying to end my phrasing on either the 3 or the 5. And then the second time around, I'm going to try to end my phrase on the 1. And we're gonna use that rhythm, right? This rhythm that we have. So we have this. Okay, all I'm doing is trying to get a feel for the scale. So I want you to hit pause right now. Just do that. Just that, right? We're getting, right? We're just getting that feel for the scale. Now, because I know you've paused the video, you haven't just gone to the next exercise like I would have done. You've actually paused the video. We're gonna do the same thing on the second string, okay? Now, that's the 5, 7, 1, 3, 4, 5, right? 5, 7, 1, 3, 4, 5. Same exercise, same goals. Starting on the 5, start ending the first phrase. You can start the first phrase wherever. This note's not in the scale yet. See what I'm saying? We can do whatever, but we want to end on the 3 or the 5 or the 5. And then the second time around, we want to end on the 1. And I'm already getting fancy. So one of the things I talk about all the time, and I will continue to talk about it until I turn purple, is that, restricting ourselves helps us get, once I take the restrictions away, I can do all this stuff. So making sure that I restrict myself is gonna help me get dialed in on what I'm trying to do in the moment. Okay, so take another second, pause the video again. Pause it, I swear to God, freaking pause it. It's not that hard, just pause the video. There's no way you paused it. Okay, regardless, it doesn't matter. We're back. Now, we're gonna add what's called grace notes in between. So, I'm gonna take my thumb and I'm gonna palm mute a little bit. And if you don't know how to palm mute, basically take the fatty part of your hand. I'm not calling you fat, relax. Put it over the pickup and start plucking. You'll notice it's totally dead. If I start sliding my whole hand, so watch this, right? The whole hand is moving back. If I start sliding my whole hand, you're gonna start hearing it. Okay, and you have degrees of palm mute. You can palm mute really hard, right, or really light. So you're gonna find the one that works for you. And what we're gonna do is this: thumb and first finger. Let's do it half speed first. Okay? All right, so we're just doing that. But now I'm doing the same exercise, but I'm gonna bounce. Sort of. Like okay, I'm gonna try to do this. We'll see. Let's see what happens here. Tricky. Okay, so I got to restrict myself more than I'm used to. Let's do this. Let's see. Okay, so open note, open note, open note. Okay, open note, open note, open note, note, note. Yeah, open note, open note, open note, note, note. So it's a six note phrase. So it's like a triplet, right? One and two and three and. Can't count those. Let's try it again. Let's see what happens. So it's open note, open note. Okay, we may even have to cut this part. No, I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to leave it in because you can see that I'm struggling to figure out what we're going to do. Basically, the idea is going to be this. Let's get just an eighth note. Eighth note's going against that. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Right. And then we're going to bounce. But you can, as long as that stays stable, you can do. See what I'm saying? Like you can take it off, you can put it on, you can do multiple notes at once. Right? You don't have to do two notes at once. You can always bounce off the notes in between. Again, same thing though. We want to start our phrase on or end our first half of the phrase on the 3 or the 5, and the second half of the phrase on the 1. Okay? So now, you can see why this is going to be like this might even be a 3-part video. We're going to see, but so that's 2 parts. Now, let's double time this. So 16th notes. All right, 16th notes. Same thing. Now, we're still on the top string. We're not even going to the second string yet. There's already so many options. One of the things too is when you depending on how much I mute it, it changes the energy. One of the things we talk about a lot is, especially with technique stuff, is energy. Make sure that doesn't go to sleep. Make sure it's still recording. Okay, we're good. So one of the things we talk about a lot is energy, right? Keeping the energy, making the energy move, making the energy do the stuff that we want it to do. So if I'm tight, it's really defined. it keeps the energy pretty tight. All of a sudden it gets real big. So I can keep changing the energy just with how tight my muting is without changing anything else. So you see what I'm talking about? Like it's starting to get, like that energy is moving. It's getting big. We haven't even touched the second string yet. We're going to do the second string. Now, check it out. You got to be a little more careful because you want to make sure that you're muting the first string. I like to use just this part of my hand right here, but whatever you want, where you don't want to have, I guess I'm just careful. It's still ringing, but don't hit it is basically the idea. And mute it a little bit so it's not just like ringing like crazy. I feel like it's self-explanatory, right? That's how we're doing those two. Now, check it out. There's other techniques we can mute the string entirely. So okay, pause it, practice those. I know you didn't. It doesn't matter. Here we go. We can mute the string entirely. So which you know can be super helpful. It keeps it clean and then it adds another level of tightness. Right, you can hear the difference when I stop muting. Versus when I do mute, it tightens everything up. Okay, so that's the next step, is now to mute. Don't have that open string ringing. You gotta be a little more careful about when you're picking your notes because you don't want to have that on a like ending note, right? But we can do it. Does that make sense what I'm talking about? So now, same thing. I'm still working through that scale. This is the reason it's been here the whole time. I'm working through that scale. But now, I don't know why I'm yelling at you, but now it's, we're muting. We're not using the open strings. This is all in this one technique. Let's leave it here for now. We're going to do a couple of these. We're going to do 3 or 4 of these, right? It's going to take a second to get all these together. But let's leave it here for now. Let's keep them bite-sized. So, I want you to just sit around, practice this backing track or anything that just stays in D. And we're just... That's what I'm muting. But I'm not doing any of the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. So let's try it again. Let's try that again. But I'm going to talk about what I'm actually talking about. We're muting, right? We can mute. Right? We can leave the open strings open. Okay? And we can bounce between the strings. I added one extra note. I'm sorry. Right? And then again, obviously we cannot mute. Right, and if you watch the opening jam, and I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna close out with this too. I'm adding this as an additional technique. This is not the only technique I'm using. Right? I'm gonna play a lot of the other stuff that we've been doing. And then, right, we can add, we can go back and forth. We use it as a piece of the puzzle. So start with practicing with just this puzzle piece. Just this one. And then let's start adding it into what we're doing. And I'm gonna have some more. We're gonna do, you know, 3 or 4 of these at least, probably, just judging from how this is going, that are gonna keep breaking this idea down. These are gonna be sort of some of the next ideas, the bouncing idea and the sort of constant picking idea. So thanks for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you will practice. And you know, we're gonna have a bunch of these coming. So I'm actually really stoked on this. This is a really fun. I didn't realize how in-depth this topic would be. I thought this would be one video, and you know, we're 20-some minutes in, and it's like just the tip of the iceberg. So thanks for hanging.